Hello everybody and welcome to Level 5. I'm your host Level 5 and here on this channel we talk all things movies, TV shows, comic book and video games. So just pre-warning, I apologise about the lack of content in January. I had two really big videos planned, but my microphones had a bit of a hiccup throughout January. Actually affected a lot of other channels as well, and so whilst I'm now fixing those two videos, I thought I'd just make a video here. And today, we're going to be talking about the decline, the downfall, the downgrade, and the disrespect towards one of the best characters in sitcom history. We're talking, of course, Rajs Koothrappali from Big Bang Theory. Roll that intro. First things first, let me know what you guys think of the brand new intro that we have for 2025. I really like it myself. And yes, let's talk about Rajs Koothrappali, or Raj, as a lot of his friends call him. Let's dive in and learn about Raj real quick. Raj is one of the main characters in the Big Bang Theory series, and he's from episode 1 all the way through. Rajs is a lovable, nerdy character. He's a perfect blend between the male characters in the show, you know, men who are scientifically brainy, massive nerds and geeks of comic books, movies, video games, and all sorts. And, of course, they lack the self-worth, I guess the word I'm looking for here is confidence in talking to the female sex of the human race. But then he's also perfectly blended on the women's side of the characters as well, because they're, of course, emotional, very talkative, very attached to one another, and they do what girls, well, stereotypically like to do. They work 9 to 5, but they also like going out getting their, manicures, pedicures, hair done. They like going and getting some wine. They like going dancing and all sorts of stuff. Rajs fits perfectly in between, because we've seen multiple times throughout the show him being a massive geek. He rants about comic books with his friends. He plays board games and card games and video games with them, and he'll happily go and watch Indiana Jones, even though it's just an extra 12 seconds or whatever it is. But at the same time, he's a scientist. We also see him deal with his work several times, being an astrophysicist, meaning he explores space. And then, of course, he's an emotional, tender character. He's heartfelt. He wears his heart on his sleeve. And, of course, that works well with the women characters in the show, because he gets to bond with them in a different way. We actually get to see a lot of conflict with this too, as Howard likes to tease him for the fact that he likes hanging out with the women, which I like the fact that they do this. But that brings a major point for Rajs Koothrappali's character. The first several seasons of the show, he couldn't even speak to women unless he's under the influence of alcohol, which I actually found quite an interesting story trope. We'd never really seen that before in a sitcom. Of course, a lot of the times in a sitcom, you'll have the geeky character, you'll have the romantic character, and then you'll have the playboy. But instead, in this sitcom, you had a character who couldn't even talk to women unless he had an alcoholic beverage in his system, which played off rather well, especially when it came to the humour side of a sitcom. You got to have really funny moments. Then, of course, they had to develop this. They had to push up Raj's character. So eventually, after a heartbreak, he manages to talk to Penny for the first time without being drunk or without drinking alcohol of any kind. And of course, from then point on, he was able to talk to any woman. But that, of course, brought complications in itself. The one thing that I like about Raj is he's the odd one out. of the group, because of course each member of the group pairs off with one another. We have Penny and Leonard, Amy and Sheldon, and Bernadette goes with Howard, meaning Raj is the odd one out, as is an odd number of characters, which means we get to see him in multiple different relationships, even after the main characters stop doing that sort of storytelling. Raj still continues, and we get to see him in different types of relationships. He comes from India and a very wealthy family, and we get to see him in a relationship where his woman at the time really liked the whole gift giving. We also see him in a relationship where the girl is just as timid, just as shy, and just as emotionally unavailable as he is. And, of course, we get to see him in a relationship with the complete opposite end of that coin, where the woman is completely confident. She's experimental, she's adventurous in different ways than Raj is. We get to see him in different forms of relationship, and we get to see him fuck up each one of those relationships in his own right. But of course, he's a developing character, so it's fine that he fucks up, and he learns from these mistakes. He even goes so far as sitting down with all these women and breaking down why they broke up with him. It's played off as a joke, and of course Howard's there for comedy relief, but honestly, it's a big step from not talking to women whatsoever, to being in several relationships and fucking them up, to actually wanting to understand what he did wrong from the women's perspective, so he can learn from them. It's an incredible character trait. And then, of course, he gives up on love altogether and asks his parents for an arranged marriage. A huge thing in the tradition of, Indian culture. Especially when it came to his parents, because his parents are actually trying to nag him about this several times throughout the series. And of course, he does actually get the whole point. He gets to the point where he meets the woman that he's going to arrange marriage to. And they kind of start off. They start going on dates. And eventually Raj ends up fucking that up too. And then they decide not to get married, but they start dating, and at the end of the day, Raj ends up alone. And this is where the downcline happens. The end of the series ended after 12 years of being on screen, which, by the way, is fantastic for a sitcom, and they had a few things to wrap up. They had to give all the characters a development point. Now, Howard and Bernadette have some of the biggest stepping points throughout the show, getting together, breaking up, getting back together, getting married, and of course having kids. There's also the whole losing Howard's mum, him having massive jumps in his life in the case of becoming an astronaut and stuff like this. Bernadette making a buckload of money, as she says. So they have a lot of character development. Then, of course, you have Sheldon and Amy, who win the Nobel Prize. And, of course, Sheldon's the character in The Big Bang Theory. He's like the main character, so to speak. So, of course, the main plot point of the season finale, the series ending, would be about Sheldon, but of course they roped Amy into it because that's now his wife, and he's had the biggest character development, which I'll talk about that in a different video. And then when it came to Leonard and Penny, they never showed anything off, they never finished off this story arc, but they ended the show with Penny being pregnant, which is something that came up several times throughout them being together, and actually ended up being an argument of theirs. That leaves Raj. Now, of course, you have the three main couples. We have a couple with massive leaps and bounds in a romantic sense. One couple, a massive leaps and bound in the, their job, their life has changed, they're millionaires now, and all sorts of stuff. And then occupational sense. And then, of course, you have the couple who is still the same but progressive because their kids end up going through some, development stages that get mentioned. But that leaves Raj, the romantic, the guy who literally is in love with the idea of love, the guy who ends up giving up so hard he just ends up trying to date his phone and ends up with a dog. Now, don't get me wrong, I did kind of find it absolutely fucking hilarious that he did end up sitting next to the actress of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she's actually his date to the Nobel Prize Awards, but that still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. You're telling me that the biggest romantic character, one of the biggest romantic characters in sitcom history, doesn't end up with the woman? I mean, hell, even How I Met Your Mother has a whole thing with Ted and Robin being together, and in the last 30 seconds of the show, literally ends with Ted getting together with Robin. You couldn't, just do that with Raj? Give Raj somebody, even if it was an arranged marriage? This is where my issue kind of arises. Raj gets nobody. He has a date to the Nobel Prize Awards. But that's a date, as in, he's taking someone with him. He's not going to get together with the woman, obviously. That is the biggest downcline. That's where they did him dirty. The biggest romantic in the show ends up without a relationship. Personally, what I would have done is I would have done the whole arranged marriage deal, and instead of breaking him and the woman up, what I would have done is they go on a break, they break up then, but I wouldn't have kept it that way. I would have had it so they somehow end up talking again, and they end the show with him setting a date to the wedding, at least giving him something. Let me know what you guys think down below. Rajs Koothrappali is a great character who's had some fantastic story development, character growth, and some really fun times on The Big Bang Theory. But I just feel like his character was shot down. His character just was forgotten about. It's like they came up with the script of the 2-part season finale and went, oh yeah, let's finish this, let's end this running gag, let's mention this, let's bring this up. What about Raj? Has anyone done anything with Raj? No, nobody? Okay then. See my point? Raj is a fantastic character, and I'm gonna keep on saying it because I really do love him. He's a cool character, and the actor played him absolutely perfectly. Even Stuart, the comic book guy, ends up with a woman at the end. Why couldn't they have done that with him? Found someone who's into astrophysics just like him, or someone who likes a particular character just like he does. There's a few times where Raj will say to one of the boys, well, I like this character, or I like this show, and they kind of look at him a bit odd. Give him a woman at the end that falls in love with him because she also likes these things. Anything. They could have done anything, but they didn't. They did my boy Raj extremely dirty. Now, of course, let me know what you guys think down below about this. I just want to do a quick, essay type video of talking about the downcline when it comes to Raj's love life and his character, because it honestly is my biggest gripe when it comes to the ending of The Big Bang Theory. When it comes to these type of videos, let me know if there's any other particular characters, story arcs, or whatever when it comes to TV shows and movies you guys want me to talk about. Maybe I can check it out. That being said, though, there are some more videos coming, of course. I apologise about the fuck up that I've had on my microphone. Hopefully this turns out well. If it doesn't, I'm going to end up buying a fucking shotgun just to shoot myself with it. Who knows? I love you all. And more videos coming, of course. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think about Raj and The Big Bang Theory. Overall, we're a passionate buddy, and I shall see you guys, of course, in the next video. Bye.